Joe, this is really interesting stuff. Can't wait to get to this news. Let's go. All right, so I try to bring you up to the minute, up to the day information that affects you on your professional journey. So this stuff is super important, and I got to tell you, I think this information needs to be used. This is from the Morning Brew. U.S. job openings have surged to a 2-year high in February. That's the amount of jobs that are right now available. They're surging. And I knew this was going to happen, but let's look specifically, because I told you this was going to happen, and let's show you where they're surging. Specifically in your, let's call it hospitality industry, which would include restaurants, bars, hotels, tourism industry, okay? So these are usually lower wage, or maybe not lower wage, but they are lower wage and hourly wage positions, but massive opportunities. And this is why U.S. companies are having trouble hiring. Give an example. You ready for this? This is amazing. On October the 21st, Taco Bell is going to be holding interviews in thousands of parking lots across the United States. I didn't say they're giving away free tacos. Please don't misunderstand me. They do that every once in a while. This is not a free chalupa. But Taco Bell is got a goal on April the 21st, Madison, to hire 5,000 people in a single day. Like, Taco Bell needs so many workers that they're like, okay, April the 21st, come to this parking lot, and you don't have to get out of your car. They're going to interview you in your car. It's the drive-through interview. I've never even heard of this, Madison. You drive up. Here's what'll be funny to me. How many times will people drive up, do the interview, and then go, hey, is there any way I can get a number 3? Don't do that. If you're going to go work at Taco Bell, which, by the way, if you've got a young person in your family's job, I would send them. I'd send your kid dressed in their Sunday best, not a suit and tie, but scrub them up, stick them in the car, and I'll bet you your 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old kid could get a job that day. It's not just Taco Bell. The CEO of Johnny Rockets, owner Fat Brand, said, our staffing situation is a nightmare. We can't get people to come work. Listen to this. This is not just hourly workers. United Airlines told staff it plans to hire hundreds of pilots to meet the growing itch to travel. Delta had to cancel 100 flights over Easter weekend because they didn't have enough pilots. Factory activity in the U.S. hit its highest level in 37 years in March. But it would have been higher if there had been enough workers to work the production lines. Again, folks, if you want to get stable and just kind of reset, there's no shame in your game. All work is honorable. I'd be working in a factory right now. It's a good paying job with benefits. So why are we not having any workers? Here's the deal. Business owners are pointing to the extra unemployment benefits from the $1.9 trillion stimulus package, and it's keeping workers at home. When the job, and listen, the reason is because the extra benefits are more than they would make on the job. But I'm telling you, eventually, these stimulus packages are going to stop and they're going to run out, and you're going to have to get back to work. And so the reality is, though, is some of you are making more on unemployment than you would if you went to work. That's a policy problem. I don't care which side of the aisle you're on. It just is. And it's not going to last. And I'm going to tell you right now, when you see the job market tighten, which it will, because people are looking and nobody's wanting to get hired, you put yourself out there, you're actually going to get paid more. Right now, the companies are willing to pay you more because they need workers. Don't just assume your unemployment benefits are the better deal and then you're going to get back to work. That's bad strategy. Bad strategy. 844-747-2577 is the number. Okay, I want to close today's show. I'm going to touch on this real quick because I know that there are people watching right now, whether it's live or you're watching later, or you've got a friend or a loved one who has been really down for a long time. Maybe it's something that was said to them. Maybe they got mistreated at work and they left because it was toxic. Maybe they were fired for the wrong reason. It was just awful boss. I don't know. Maybe they did something morally and they had a fall. Maybe they've made really bad financial decisions and they're way behind the eight ball. Maybe their relationships, whether a marriage or a dating relationship, was explosive and it broke up and they're just down and they feel like damaged goods. I want to speak to you for just a moment, because whether I came up with your scenario or not, or I've been able to accurately describe what you're going through, I do know that some of you out there, and some of you know people that need to hear this, and I want you to forward this to them. Literally hit share right below the video window and say, watch the last 4 minutes of this deal. At 40 minutes after, 40 minutes into the show, he starts talking to you. Forward it to him. What I'm telling you is I know there are people out there that feel as though they've lost their worth. I'm not worth much. And when you start feeling that way, you start to really doubt that you have a purpose, that not only has your worth been damaged, your why has been taken from you. I'm here to tell you that's not true. It's not true. So when I was growing up, I lived in a lower middle class home. We didn't have much money. And as I got older, 10, 11, 12, I began to realize that my mom and dad would always take us to these flea markets. And when you're younger, you just didn't pay attention. I was always griping and complaining. My dad would drag me to these flea markets and antique stores. Why are we going to the store? What I now know is that was the way my mom and dad got nice furniture. But they would inevitably walk into a garage sale, a flea market, an antique store. And as I got older, I began to realize, and now my wife and I do it because we enjoy restoration so much. And so I watched my parents do this. And so they would go in and they would see a piece of furniture that was being discarded. If it's at a flea market or a garage sale, listen to me, the owner of that furniture is given up on it. They have devalued it. They once paid top price for it, or a higher price, and now they've discounted it really low because they want to get rid of it. Stay with me on this. So you can walk in and you could see a piece of furniture that's got a $50 sticker on it, and you know good and well that was probably several $100s, couple $100 at some point. Somebody's given up on it. Why? It's damaged. It's old. Been used. Whatever. And yet, someone could walk in like me and see that and go, wait a second. That's solid right there. That's a solid piece of furniture, Joe. You know what that needs? Some attention. Some repair. Woo! It gets good, Joe. So here we go. If you're feeling that way right now, like you've been discarded, like you've been given up on, like you've been discounted, I want you to hear the process that I watched my mom and dad do. So I'm simplifying the process to 4 steps for restoration. Number 1, they would strip the furniture. They'd get the furniture, and if it had old stain on it or paint, they would strip it. They would strip it down. In other words, get all the junk off. Stains, old paint, old lacquer, whatever. They'd get it off. They'd strip it. That's step 1. Number 2, then they would clean it. After they get all the junk off, they got to clean it, wipe it down. And here's the line, Joe. They would prepare it so it could be repaired. They would prepare to repair. See, you got to get the junk off first, then you got to get cleaned up. If you've ever fallen in a big old thing of mud, you don't just start showering right away. You get sprayed off, get all the mud off, then we're going to go get the soap. So they clean it. Step 3, they would repair it. Wood filler in the holes. Hardware if it needed new hinges, Joe, or handles. Sanding off. Once you do that, once you get the holes filled, you got to sand it. We're repairing it. We are in the true process now we're getting closer and closer to restoration. And the final step is they will put that multiple coats of stain on it and get it really, really close to its original state. Sometimes it looked better. They would restore it to its original glory. What I want you to hear is when you see furniture restored or a car restored or a house, what was given up on by someone else has now been turned into or returned to its original glory, and that's you. You are a child of God. You were created on purpose with talent, things that you do really well, and your failure has not removed that talent. You were created with passion. When your heart comes alive and beats out of your chest when you think about a certain type of work, when you're in the middle of it, world stops. Time disappears. You love the work, the role. That's passion. And then you were gifted by your Creator with a sense of mission, a desire to make a difference, results that matter deeply to you. That, folks, is mission. And I can tell you, no matter what has happened to you, been done to you, what you did to yourself, you're in the shame and you haven't walked out of that shame. You're like it's in a cave and you're afraid to come out because you think you're not worth anything anymore. And I'm telling you, you need to strip that off. Strip that junk off. Get clean. Get healthy. Fix what needs to be fixed. Put a fresh coat. Walk out of that cave because your purpose has not disappeared. Your worth is as much as it ever was. You know why they call it an antique when you look it up? It's not old, dilapidated piece of furniture that nobody wants anymore, Joe. The definition is something of great value because of its age. What about your value because of your experience? The path that you've been on, even with a lot of failure that we're talking about, you're now equipped to help others either avoid it or overcome it. Woo, that's good. There's great value in antiques because they've stood the test of time. They've been restored to their original glory. And now they're even more valuable than when they were first created. Grab this. Accept this. Begin this process to restoring yourself. And if you need to call me, I'll talk you through it. We'll talk about the steps of restoration because you matter. You have what it takes. And I believe in you. Thank you for joining us.